We'll get this out of the way. Very good. Right, let's make sure everyone can hear everyone. If you pull that over here,
lush,
and then just make sure it's not covering your face on the camera, because that always looks a bit weird.
Good.
Very good stuff. I'm number 1 and you are number 3. Give us some talking.
Hello, how you doing? My name's Niall. What's the crack?
Very
On
good.
10.
Very good. We're here with the B-Tech blind boy. Over
B-Tech blind boy. I'll take that. Hashtag.
Hashtag B-Tech blind boy. What flavour is it?
Blackcurrant.
Blackcurrant.
Yeah.
Pull that a bit closer to you as well.
So,
Blackcurrant.
yeah, it's not my favourite actually. I'm more into it, but I'd been off the vape for ages, and then I went back in, forgot any of my flavours, and I was like, blackcurrant's nice. It'd be like a Chew It or something like that.
Like a My Waddy.
Yeah, it's not. It just tastes of sort of like weak water.
Well, I have a weird relationship with blackcurrant because when I was younger, I was quite sick at one point, and then I needed to take a laxative, and it was blackcurrant flavoured. It was like a smoothie thing that was a laxative.
Now, what's I know what a laxative does. What sort?
Makes you shit yourself.
Yeah, no, I know it does. I've often thought when I've had a few too many pints and I'm going, I'm looking fat at the moment. Maybe I should get laxative. Like, what was the movie? What's that movie where a guy has to drink a big bottle of it's like a laxative, and it's all gulpy and stuff. What is it?
I have no idea.
Oh, if I'd known we were going to talk about this.
If I'd known we were talking about
is it like
laxatives.
a tablet you take?
No, it was like
You
it was
took.
like a smoothie.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah, but you can get laxative tablets
And
as
how
well.
quick we talking?
Oh, I mean, it was fairly in the next 20 minutes. Like,
Really?
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
was just like,
Game
go.
on. See you later.
I want to give it a go. I don't know
You
why.
give
You have to be like
laxatives a
housebound for the day. There's no chance going out.
I think once you're empty, you're empty.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But people are like, that's when people.
But you feel like weak because you're empty.
I see. I think I like that.
What, feeling weak?
Just feeling free. I feel like I could fly. I'd be like, let's get some boots on. Let's go down the park. Have a poke around.
I had a mad one over Christmas, and I'm trying to turn this into a bit of stand-up where I had the flu for a week from like New Year's to about the 6th or 7th of January.
What, just this one gone? Yeah.
Yeah. And I was back in Belfast, which is good because I'd fucking hate to be in London and be super ill. So I didn't eat for like 4 or 5 days. And then on like the 5th day, I like tried a bit of food. And then I was watching Netflix with my brother. And then I went into the toilet and was like, Dario. And he was like, what? And I was like, I'm going to be sick. And he was like, what do you want me to do? I was like, get mum. Obviously get mum. And then I start throwing up, and I'm bad. I hate throwing up like so much that when I do throw up, I like scream the whole way through it.
Oh yeah, I'm a screamer.
Because I
as
kind
well.
of think it's fun to be like, "Ah!"
Well, you feel like you need to give it. I don't know about you, but you feel like you've got to give it a bit of oomph, like, or else it's not all going to come out. And you want to yell.
Yeah.
My dad is not a big drinker, but I remember I was getting back from. I think we went out to watch. I think we were watching Ireland against. It wasn't Bosnia, but we were out somewhere out that way because me and my dad used to go to all the away games.
Class.
And stuff. And he's not a big drinker, but would control the drink. And I remember one night waking up to that. It's the same as sneezing.
Oh, my dad's a brutal sneezer.
That's horrible
man.
to hear, probably.
Yeah, I'm definitely peaking, but it's alright. So I'm throwing up, screaming my head off, and Dario was like, Mom, Vittorio's throwing up. And then Mum comes running down the stairs and slips and like falls down the stairs. Yeah, it is funny. Like, it's okay. Don't worry.
Well, I don't know the end of the story.
Yeah,
Yes,
she's
you
dead
go.
now.
Yeah, sadly, God rest her soul. But very mad situation. I wanted to tell you about. Don't know if it's a stand-up one, but ultimately she wasn't a nice woman, and
So she slips and like falls, but like when you like fall but like slide down the stairs, so she like hurts her lower back and like hits it on a few steps. Yeah. And then Dad hears this and like he comes running down the stairs and is like, "Are you okay?" to Mum, and Mum's like, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" and then Mum's like, "No, go sort out Vittorio, get him a cold cloth for his head." And then Dad comes in and goes, "What do you want?" And I was like, "A cold cloth." And then he goes into the kitchen and realizes that the bins need emptied.
Right.
So starts emptying
For
the bin.
God's sake.
And Mum's like,
Toilet's
what
been
the
sick.
fuck
Quick,
are you
empty the bins.
And he's like, they needed emptied.
For God's sake. Useless.
Honestly.
Fuck.
Italians, can't trust them.
Yeah, I don't know many Belfast Italians. What's
There's
the crack
loads
with
of
that?
us.
Is there?
Yeah.
I'm not from Belfast. So.
The Morellis. These are just ice cream shops.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Right. Belfast is my second home, but I didn't know it that well. Like,
There's like an Italian society of Northern Ireland.
Do you know what I mean? There's not many people that move to Dundalk.
No.
That's where we'll go. That's where we end up. It's kind of weird when you're in places like that. I don't know if you've had this in Ireland, and it might sound like a bit of a weird thing to say, but when anyone who's not from Ireland, who's not like English or is there like to, you know, I always go, why did you pick Dundalk or like
the weird places? You get Dublin, you get
went,
Belfast, you get like.
I've got a really good idea. We're gonna move to Europe. We're gonna move to Ireland.
Have you seen Yu Ming?
Have you seen what?
Yu Ming. The
like the
Irish language film.
Oh no.
So it's this like wee Chinese man who like is dead depressed in China, and he spins a globe and like bang.
Right.
And he's like, that's where I'm gonna move, and he moves to Ireland. But he so he decides to move to Ireland, and then spends months learning Irish.
Oh, because he thinks he's gonna have. Oh my god.
So he learns Irish. And he goes into this pub and orders or asks if they're hiring in Irish, and the guy goes, I don't understand. And the old man at the end of the pub talks to the Chinese guy in Irish, and the guy behind the bar goes, "Jeez, I didn't know you spoke Chinese."
That's such a good idea. Oh my, that's like a joke.
But then he gets a job in the Gaeltacht, and he's all happy.
Sorted. That's where he belongs. A Chinese man who knows Irish. Where is he gonna go? Gaeltacht.
He's one of the only people in the world that knows Irish but not English, and he's Chinese.
It's my. I'm supposed to be learning Irish this year.
Yeah.
That's what
it's on
I've been given
my
books
list
for
of
Christmas,
like I need to fucking do it.
I keep thinking I wanted to do it every year. Mostly since I've been in London, just going, I really would love to learn it. I thought if I'd started when I was 18, I'd be grand now.
Yeah.
And my mum, I had to say to my mum, I was saying at Christmas, because a New Year, and I got all these books, and I went to my mum, you're going to be annoyed. Her and my brother, I said, you're going to be annoyed. And they were like, why? I was like, because I'm going to learn Irish. Because they think it's so, like, they don't think it's a waste of time, but my mum's like, just learn German or
yeah. Well,
Spanish
when I was
stuff.
in school,
it
was like French, Spanish, or Irish were your
Yeah.
language choices, and my dad was like, "Don't be doing Irish."
So I went to secondary school in Leicester, so I didn't have it.
Yes,
so, but I sort of said, as you said to me, Mum, it was the only thing that could get her to agree with me, which was you have to want to learn a language to learn it. You know what I mean? And I actually don't have interest in learning anything else but that. So
fuck the Spanish.
Yeah. Come on back, boys. Come on back. It's the only way.
But I get that, and I found it quite like weird in uni when like I knew a couple lads from Dublin, and they would like we'd be on nights out and they would have these wee chats in Irish, and it wouldn't be like they would just doing it to have the crack, and it was like basic Irish, you know, the way like if two people have done like GCSE Spanish, they'll fuck around and do like kind of broken Spanish, and they were just doing that. But I always felt very like left out by it, and I was like, that is a really nice thing, because London's hard enough to like feel a connection to like where you're from and like a community thing.
Yeah.
And like a language.
Yeah, but you don't end up doing stupid stuff like putting flags on your wall or anything.
No. I do. Have you heard of Micky Bartlett?
Yeah. No. Do you know what? Actually, I was saying that before I was listening to loads of your podcast. I have seen him live. And I loved him, and I couldn't remember his name. And I met him after a show. He was supporting Jimon in Leicester Square when I saw him. I love Jimon.
Oh, Jimon's so funny.
He was awesome, so I'm glad I've got his name now.
Yeah, Micky Bartlett. Amazing. Well, he arrived. It wasn't in this house, but it was a similar.
I'm gonna start.
Yeah,
this Iron Brew here. I remember being at school in Leicester. Cheers, boy. And saying to my mate, because I used to think it was an Irish drink. I didn't know it was Scotch. And I was like, yeah, it's Iron Brew, like Ireland brew. And he was like, no, it's not. It's from Iran.
It's from
Iran. I was going, maybe it is Scottish. So
well, if it is from Iran,
cheers to Iran.
I hope they win World War III.
Oh, God bless them. bless those poor. Terrible stuff.
Fucking, it's all mad.
A load of my mates speak Welsh.
I thought you were going to say Iranian. Well, Welsh is very good because they've got so much funding for it, and like
they have smashed it. They're so much better than us.
Because this is the thing, the argument in Northern Ireland where it's like, where like the DUP are super against an Irish Language Act, and I'm like, just look at Wales. It like massively improves their culture and like their sense of identity and their fucking.
I have a theory that the DUP don't like us learning Irish because it makes us more shaggable to the thing, and that means that we can populate more freely and. I mean, more.
We're all, Catholics fucking love the ride. Do you know
imagine it with a bit of Irish in there as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember going up to a girl in oh god, I was about.
Let's get this properly on the microphone.
Oh, sorry. I was in a nightclub. I must have been about 19 or 20, and I went up to this girl and was chatting to her, and she was like, "Oh my god, you're Irish," and all that sort of stuff, and you're just loving that sort of stuff. You're like,
I never had that when I was 19, 20. Do you know
oh yeah.
Well,
I was just buzzing, and she went, "Do you speak Irish?" And I was like, "Yeah, a little bit."
You just counted down.
No, I did. I went, "Shouldn't have finna fall." And she went, "What does that mean?" And I went, "Your eyes are blue like the emerald isle." Didn't even make sense. And she was like, "Oh my god, that's so cute. That's so cute." She went, "My friend speaks Irish as well." I'm gonna go and get him. Because not many of you do, and I was like, "Oh my god,
run!"
I didn't. I just froze, and he came up, and he went. He was this massive bloke, and he was like, "Well, how's it going?" You know, and I was like, "Good, good." He was like, "He speaks Irish as well." He just said that my eyes are like green, like the Emerald Isle, and I was like, "He's like, oh yeah, yeah." And she was like, "Go on, do it again." And I went, "Should have found the fall at half regard again." And he went, "Yeah, not bad." Yeah,
what a man!
I wanted to shake his hand, buy him a drink, ride him myself. I swear, thank you so much. He was like, yeah. Shouldn't have been a fault to you as well, pal.
That's so funny.
See you later. Yeah.
But I remember working like hospitality jobs when I was in uni, and like saying to people like, "Oh, I don't really speak much Irish," and people were like, "Irish is a language," and I was like, "Fucking yeah."
But yeah, people don't know.
It is mad. Like I used to have a bit about the
what do you call it, Gaelic?
Aye, but that's fine.
Yeah, I got told off the other day for calling it Gaelic. I was like, "I can't speak Gaelic." They were like, "You can't speak Irish." I was like, "I can't even say that I can't speak it." I'm getting that wrong. So I've got to the point now where I've learned to say I can speak Irish. Now I need to learn it.
Yeah.
And then I will say I know how to speak Gaelic.
Well, Luke, who we were talking about earlier, he lived in Germany for 6 months on like Erasmus, and he learned how to say, "I'm sorry, I don't speak German very well," so well that Germans didn't believe him. Like I was on the train once, and the ticket inspector like asked him something, and he went, "Sorry, I don't speak German very well," in German, and she went, "Yeah, you do."
Speak it very well. That's not a very word of that.
But fuck, that's so mad. What was I gonna say? Something about Irish. Should we plug the gig?
Yes, let's do that.
Because I always like to get that out in the first chunk of time, just in case someone turns off. Yeah. But fuck you if you want to turn off. 11th of February.
11th of February at the. Now this is very important. The Dublin Castle in Camden.
But not Camden in Dublin.
Not Camden in Dublin. That's very important as well. I haven't thought of that. I didn't think about it at the time because the Dublin Castle isn't really an Irish pub. It's like this class venue. Like I knew about it a little bit, but then people of a certain age are starting to congratulate me for having a gig there because Madness played there, the Pogues, Coldplay, and so I've had lots of people going, "I can't. I'm going to be in England. I'm going to be in London," and I'm like, "It's in." So I've gone Camden in big letters. 11th of February. Yeah. Dublin Castle, Camden, and it's like because I've done mostly acting over the last few years, but I've always been writing songs and doing gigs on my own, packing them out and getting really good support, but never inviting anyone down to see it. And it's got to the point now where I've got managers, agents. I think U2's former manager might be coming down. So it's
great. Let's get a good wee fucking crowd in.
Good following.
Get the support up.
It's a good and a bad thing that the tickets. I've got a thing that shows me who's bought tickets.
Awful.
Which is exciting when they're going up. But when someone's just gone, yeah, I'll buy them now, and I'm looking going, hurry up. Hurry up.
Yeah, that's me.
But also as well, because I don't know what it's like with stand up, but like with music, I've started to realise that having a following is almost more important than anything else.
Yeah, it doesn't need to
And-
be in 2020. Gatekeepers don't need to exist
No, that's it.
because you can build your own following to the point where you book a gig, put it on Instagram, it sells out, you get all the money.
Yeah, that's right.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's useful with the gatekeepers and the traditional media to get in front of more audience to like grab more people and do whatever. But realistically, in my opinion, and my kind of focus for stand up is just entirely building this cult following. Who I don't need to get on live at the Apollo. If I eventually do get on live at the Apollo, all I want from it is a few hundred extra people
And it's done so
to
much.
follow me on
Live
Instagram.
at the Apollo's done so much on it for comedians and comedy anyway. Like,
Yeah, less so now. I mean, the clips. Do you ever
I don't
watch
watch
it
it
anymore?
anymore.
So the clips nowadays, I don't know if it's changed, but the audio on them is so distractingly edited that I can't watch them anymore.
How do you mean between
So
jokes?
like, when the comedian is speaking, the audience appears to be silent, and then it goes ha.
Oh.
It's like canned. It's canned laughter.
Oh, that's terrible.
And it's mad, like, and you can, once you spot it, it's awful.
Well, that's it done for me. I won't watch
Well.
it again now. I won't be able to.
But but you've got amazing comedians putting stuff out on YouTube that's filmed better, and I don't really. Stand-up comedy is best in a comedy club environment. It's not best in a
But
theatre.
that's Stuart, what's his name? Who's the comedian that does? Oh, I love him as well.
Stuart Lee.
Stuart Lee. I mean, my dad used to watch him all the time, and when I was a bit younger, I'd be watching it, not really concentrating. But like, I got into it over Christmas even more, and I just watched it.
He's
'Cause I was
phenomenal.
listening to he used to be a double act with a fellow who does a podcast called Relistapa. What's his name? Richard. It's the name of a bird. I can't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter. He won't be getting a plug anyway. Yeah, it's just like amazing in that room. It looks so simple, and because Kevin Bridges said he prefers doing like stadiums, like those sold out. things. I can't imagine how you would.
I think he's one of the only acts where I go, you've cracked this in a way that works in that size of venue. There's something about his delivery, and
There's a rowdiness to it.
there's something.
You'd almost put him in the same category as people like Jerry Cinnamon and
Yeah,
and what's his name? Yeah, like Lewis Capaldi in a sense.
because somehow with
Not
him,
just 'cause
it
they're
just
Scottish,
feels like
but, you
he's
know.
talking to a group of people in a pub
Yeah,
and telling them a
he's got
story.
this attitude about him as well that makes him look like he's constantly shrugging
he's
his
the
shoulders
fucking-
and going, "What am I doing
Yeah.
here?" Do you know?
I met him.
Yes.
This is all you might have heard on the podcast. Mate, I owe that guy so many pints. He fucking. I'm like, I don't know if anything's gonna come of it, but I'm doing shows for like his agency now, and they're like,
That's massive.
and I'm like, he'd never seen me do comedy. I just met him at a Celtic game, and he was like, "This is my agent."
Never underestimate
Get
the
in
power
touch.
of the green and white.
Honestly, it's just like, yeah, man. He was super super nice. He probably took. You know when someone takes time to speak to you, where it's like, he could have just gone, "Oh yeah, Grant," and gone back to like talking to his
But
fiance.
do you know what? It might not be just. It might have just been. Sometimes you just get a feeling off someone, don't you?
Yeah.
And you go, you want to help them out. I know that. I understand now when I'm talking to someone, because it can be quite bad when you're meeting someone. Because presumably you were talking to him because you were like, geez, like one of your heroes, and
Yeah.
you were just like wanted to talk to him,
Yeah.
not looking for anything, and that's great. And I always find it very rarely works when you're talking to someone and you're like, you could just help me.
Oh, people
I've met,
spot
like-
the inauthenticity.
I've met music producers and directors from acting and stuff, people
Mm-hmm.
who I've been told 5 minutes before are really important
Yeah,
and are, you know, or could really propel your career. But if I don't actually care or know about who they are,
Yeah, for
then
sure.
the conversation is impossible for me because I just have nothing to talk about unless they support Leeds, which once they did, and he gave me a job because we were
Mate.
talking about Leeds, you know.
It's a good day to support Leeds.
Today is,
Yeah,
mate,
because my housemate Dan,
yeah.
who is downstairs, well, he's not downstairs, he's at work, but he's from Leeds. massive Leeds fan, and he was raving
Was he
about it
watching
this
it last
morning.
night?
Yeah, he was like,
I tell
It's
you what, this
unbelievable.
club is going to be the death of me. Yes, you're a big football fan. Like,
but I'm super interested in Leeds because my mate, and then Bielsa's just the fucking man.
did you know the biggest ever European Cup attendance is a match between Leeds and Celtic?
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
That's fucking huge. Like,
Yeah, I've been brainwashed by my dad to support Leeds, and for the majority of my life, I've
So is
hated him
your-
for it.
is your dad from Leeds?
No, my dad's from Dundalk, but
Just one of those.
well, it's weird because you don't question it when someone from Ireland supports Manchester United or Liverpool.
Well, that's because that's where a lot of families got off the boat.
True, Leeds isn't far away, but I think it's mostly because, I mean, let's be honest, if Liverpool didn't have a good football team when people were getting off the boat,
Exactly.
Leeds were just massive in the 70s. So
Yeah.
I was in Dublin over New Year and watched Leeds playing, and there was this, what can only describe as what looked like a cinema, but it was a pub, and it was huge, and it was packed. It felt like being at a home game. There's so many. Robbie Keane was playing for Leeds when I was growing up.
That's
you know
also a
what I mean?
thing. Yeah.
Ian Hart, Gary Kelly.
There's and also in the 70s there was a few Irish players, Johnny Giles and stuff.
Yeah, we've had a good few.
But you find that recently because then back in the 70s it was people getting boats across more often than not, and they were ended up Manchester, Liverpool, that side of the country.
Liverpool's no it's no mystery, like.
Yeah,
No.
but then I've kind of realised, and it's about the teams being good as well, where in the 90s and 2000s you've got a lot of Irish Chelsea supporters.
Which is so bizarre.
But it's because they're flying over now. So they fly over to London, get into Heathrow,
Yeah.
and they come in from the west of London, and they go,
It doesn't
Chelsea.
match though, does it? I've only met one or two.
I mean,
Irish
politically,
Chelsea. No.
horrendous
They're
matchup.
literally sister clubs of Chelsea, with the Rangers.
Yeah. The Blue Bears or whatever they're fucking, them, Chelsea and Hamburg, and
Blue
it's
Pair.
just, they're
Is that
fucking-
Hamburg one then as well?
They're just awful.
Yeah, and then Gerrard goes to.
Oh,
I really like Gerrard. before
I
that.
used
and now
to.
I can't remember ever liking him. Like I can't. He's a
It's
miserable
sad because I used to
bastard.
follow Liverpool quite a lot, and like Steven Gerrard's birthday is the 30th of May, and it's like because I had a massive poster of him in my room, and then
I
I'm
think
like,
it's like because I had a massive party. on the 30th of May.
a massive party, mate. But I was just like, you're a fucking. I don't know. I do find it funny that like he definitely wants to sing "You'll Never Walk Alone"
Yeah, that's mad.
when they're playing
It's
Celtic.
mental.
It's like,
And also as well, you look at someone like Steven Gerrard from Liverpool, played for Liverpool, and you're looking at him a bit like Jamie Carragher, and you're going, Carragher, you're Irish, man.
my
You know
dad
you
says
are.
that all the time. He's like,
Yeah.
his granny would say Carragher.
Well, I get this with Liam Gallagher, and
Yeah, Gallagher.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
I'd say Gallagher.
apparently they both are more Gallagher, but
Yeah.
it was taken because they're mad Irish supporters.
Yeah,
Like
they're super like pro United Ireland and stuff.
no, like did you see they did an interview like when they were starting out and they're going around their hometown? Am I close enough to this?
Yeah,
Going around their hometown and stuff and just looking at all the spots, and they're going, that was an old record shop we used to go to and all that, and they went, yeah, that was a good one. Didn't have the main ones, but you get good Wolf Tone records in there. And you were
Fucking
like,
mad.
boys,
Yeah.
absolute boys.
Well, you know the song "Dirty Old Town"
Yeah,
is
so-
about Salford.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Oh, it's about Kerry," and I'm like, "No, it's not."
Kerry. I've never heard anyone say it's about Kerry.
I've heard a few people, and I'm like, "You're fucking deluded."
No, definitely Salford. Just the way.
Did we finish plugging the gig? 11th
yeah.
of February.
11th of February.
What time's doors?
Doors are at 7.
Grand.
Tickets are £12, and we're selling well, really well, and enough that if I had to go on tomorrow, there's plenty.
It would
of
still be a
people there.
show. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
it'd still be a
It's
show.
not
I'm happy with that. But I've sort of got to this. I'm really happy with the songs I've got, and it's got to the point where the lads I live with, Anto, Jack, and a few of the other boys have listened to them and gone. Sort of in an annoyed way, like I can't watch you write these in your room anymore,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
and then us go, God, I can't wait till you're doing stuff. You said you need to do something, and in a similar way to a lot of people in what we do, like in the industry where people do this and that and this and that, I started to realize I was like, if I wasn't an actor and I was putting in as much effort over the last few years at music as I have been, it's pathetic. I have no right to be anywhere.
Yeah.
Because I've never had time to. So I turned down a job earlier this year that would have been in Belfast actually for 4 months, and just because I was like, I need to.
Yeah.
This needs to be the year. So I'm taking stuff as it comes if it's something I really want to do. But outside of that, I'm going every moment that there's not an audition or a job there for acting, I'm doing music.
Yeah,
you know. And also I've totally got no shame in. The reason I want a manager and all that sort of stuff, roughly speaking, is so someone can tell me what to do in terms of recording, because that's stuff I don't know. And the other thing is, so I don't have to play Wembley Stadium in 10 years' time and individually message 80,000 people to come to.
That'd be
me,
intense.
You know?
Yeah.
But I've got no shame in messaging people. You know, when you see people out and they go, "Oh, I'll have to come to one of you." Don't want to make
just
them
message
English.
them and go.
They
Just
go,
message them and go.
Yeah, I really want to come to your gig. Okay, great.
Here's
Then
the ticket
you've
link.
given me permission to hound you until you buy a ticket.
I'm the same.
And I don't mind someone saying they can't come. I don't even mind someone saying, not that someone would to me, because that would be rude, but to say I don't want to come.
Fine.
But the idea of someone going, "Oh, that was tonight. I wanted to go to that and I forgot." I won't let people forget.
Yeah,
so I'm
there's no
shameless.
way. In London, that happens all the time. People are almost desperate to fucking do that. They're like, "Oh, can't wait to say I meant to come." And I was like, "Fucking
sorry, I missed your thing."
Yeah, I've always been of the mindset of, with the whole, because I studied at Guildhall as a musician.
Yeah, I was wondering about this. So, yeah.
So like classical percussion.
Right.
Was my instrument of choice.
A bowron with a posh wig.
Yeah. But I started this podcast before I started stand up, which people find that weird because comedians just have podcasts now. That's like a thing. Yeah. But I was like, I kind of got into this mindset of like, if I'm consuming something as like a listener or an audience member, as an artist, I should at least try and make it.
That's true.
So I was listening to a lot of podcasts. So I was like, well, guess I'm going to make a podcast. And then I really like stand-up comedy. I was like, let's see. Let's see if I can do that.
And what about all the equipment? How did you go about that? Did you just...
I was an actor-musician on a tour, and it was equity, and I spent all the money on the fucking microphones.
Fair play. As long as it's not in the drink, that's what always happens to me.
Well, that's the thing. But it was like a kid's show. It was like super fun. It was like, during my last year at Guildhall, I went on this like regional tour of like this fucking kids show where I was like playing the soundtrack and then coming out and playing the pharmacist for 2 minutes and then coming back in, coming out playing the greengrocer and then back in and then fucking.
That sounds quite cushy.
Which was nice, and then it was just kind of Premier Inns up and down the country. But I was like,
Premier Inns, that's not bad.
Yeah, fucking like there was only like 2 travel lodges.
Were they putting you up in there?
Yeah. So it was all
I've
good.
I've been on tour and you just give
you have
money.
to sort your own. Yeah, I was like, I'm so happy I don't have to fucking sort all that shit.
I've got a mad story about digs I stayed in Belfast.
Absolutely hit me with because dig stories. For my friend always tells me to do resets. So like for people who don't know what digs are, it's like when you're on tour or you've got like a production in a place where you don't have a base or anywhere to stay. There's these like lists that theaters have of just basically often old ladies who like having young male actors in their house, and you basically stay in their spare room.
Yeah,
and
that's exactly it. And I was doing. First of all, it's really important. Well, not really important, but like I'd gone through a terrible breakup in London with a girl who lives in London.
I love those.
And I was like, yeah, I know. I mean, mine was a much shorter relationship, but just.
Sometimes it just gets.
She
you.
made it count. Anyway,
we both did. We both, the fences.
Honestly, we went through 100 years. Yeah. It was great. And I tell you what, though, great album that I got out of it. So I was delighted to go to I got offered a part in Belfast to do Good Vibrations of the Lyric.
Oh,
and
class,
I was like, thank fuck. I'm getting to go and absolutely just get out of London.
Yeah, that's fucking class. Yeah.
I needed it. So I got there, I signed with the digs, and there was this woman. I won't say her name, mostly because I can't remember. No, I can't remember it now. And anyway, I signed up. Thought, yeah, this will be fine. I'll just go in there and do that. So I get to her house and I come off the plane, and I've got 2 big bags, and I come in and she goes, "Hello, how are you?" I'm all good. I go, "How are you? Are you all right?" And she goes, "Not very well. My friend died today." And I went, oh God. I'm going to be staying with her the whole time. So I was going, tried to be a bit more personal than I normally would be. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. That's terrible. That's terrible. Oh, God, was it, you know, she was very old, to be fair. And I was like, okay, fair enough. And I went, love, it's nice weather, isn't it? And so, you know, sort of trying to talk about anything else. And I went, what are you up to tomorrow? She's going to the funeral. I was like, right, okay. Grand, lovely stuff. So she was a bit odd at first, and then grand after that. Then I'm about a few days in, I'm sat upstairs, and she comes up, knocks on my door. I go, hello. She opens the door, and she's got 4 empty yogurt pots.
Anxiety.
Yeah. She goes, what are these? And I went, they're empty yogurt pots. And she was like, no, I know what they are. Why are they empty? I was like, because I ate them. She was like, they're mine. And I was like, no, they're not. I went to the shop.
Yeah.
They were Alpro because I was trying to be healthy.
Class.
I was like, I don't know. It's one of those, I have no idea how to be healthy. I was like, I know Alpro is not like normal corner yogurt, so I'm going to get them and now I'll be slim and handsome. And so I knew they were mine and stuff. And she was going at me saying, no, I bought them. I asked him, I said, what brand are they? And she couldn't answer me. I was like, they're Alpro. I know they're mine. Anyway, in her words, we agreed to disagree, but actually, no, she was just wrong. And then got a bit weird. So then a week later, I'm starting to know the lads quite well, and this was the sexiest show ever. I'm falling in love with Belfast. This is the first time I got to know it properly. I've been there loads of times before, but never for this stretch. Yeah. And I just love it. I'm going to the Errigal and going.
Oh, fucking. The best pint of Guinness in the world is in the Errigal Inn.
Unreal. It's and the Sunday dinner is unreal.
I used to work in there.
Did you?
Yeah.
Right. There you go. It's class. Madden's. Anto's been telling me about Madden's forever, so I was there all the time, Barney and all that. All these spots, and I go out on a night out with my mate Dylan, who's on the show, and a bit naively, Dylan's from Derry, and he's sort of not got exact digs at this point. He's sort of just staying wherever, and I went, you can kip in bed with me, no bother, because it's really late. I went, you don't have to worry about it. You come and stay at mine. He went, thanks. He was staying out in Bangor. That's why he couldn't, because it would take ages. So I said, yeah, come round. So we got a curry, and we stayed round, and I'm sat there, and he goes to bed, and I'm sat eating my curry, and I'm quite pissed. I'm eating it, and then in my head I clean up, and then put it in the bin.
I love that.
Go to bed, right? Grand. So we wake up the next morning, no problem. We go to rehearsals. We say no problem, hungover. I get a text from her saying, "Can you call me?" And I went, yeah. So I called her, and the most terrifying first few words of a phone call you've ever heard. Niall, there's blood and curry everywhere. Those words will stay with me for the rest of my life.
Blood and curry.
So what had happened was, there's blood and curry everywhere. I'm going, oh my God. Do you know when you feel like sweat just comes out of everywhere, just all of a sudden I go, what? Yeah. Turns out I hadn't cleaned up the curry well enough. Now, in my head, it was probably a bit left on the side and I missed it, whatever, grand. But I had a football injury on my knee, like that I'd bandaged up, and the bandage had come off in the middle of the night, and there was blood on the sheets.
Mad.
What you doing in my room, though?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what you doing in my room? And then obviously she got annoyed. Dylan staying round, which is fair enough. Final part of the story, I promise. So I come back that night, and she goes, this isn't good. You were banging the doors last night, which is a trait of mine sometimes when I'm not concentrating. And she was like, you were loud and you had a friend stay. Totally out of order. I'm like, I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. I said, however, I want to let you know that the blood and the curry are not together with that story and not together with each other. The curry, I should have cleaned it up. The blood, there's a football injury, tried to explain. Anyway, she went, right, well, nothing. It's first the yogurts. And I'm like,
the yogurts.
I just held my tongue. And then she went, and now this. She went, nothing else. So finally, I'm on my last straw, and I go out and have literally 2 pints, and I come back probably about 11:30, 12, and I'm brushing my teeth, and between the bathroom and my room is her room. I have to pass her door, and I'm brushing my teeth, and I'm just in my pants, and I swear to God I hear her call my name, and I was like, she's quite old. I was like, oh, Niall. And I was like, God, I hope she's okay. And I don't know why I did this. I should have just gone, are you okay? I opened the door and just went, are you all right? And she was lying in bed and she went, ah! And fucking screamed like, ah! And I ran into my bed and just, I was like, I cannot believe. And I texted me mate going, I'm going to have to stay at yours, who lived in Belfast. The next day I come back to the house and she sat there waiting for me. I was like, she's going to be in a nip. She sat there waiting for me and she goes, we can't do this anymore. This isn't working out. And I was like, no, I agree with you. She was like, Niall, you can't be coming into my room at night. And I was like, well, I didn't mean to come into your room. I thought you'd called me. And she was like, you can't be coming into my room. And I was going, I fucking know that. like I was going to turn around and go, well, in fairness, Philomena, you didn't tell me that when I joined up. Like, I was like, I know. She couldn't get into her. Fuck.
I'm not editing that out.
Well,
there's enough fucking Philomenas.
I know in Belfast. I'm sure it's alright. People are like, oh, yeah. So terrifying stuff. Anyway, that must have gone.
That's very funny. That's like the Korean blood thing made me think of. Do you know in Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah.
When he takes the lewds and thinks he drives the car home safe.
Yeah. Well, this is the whole worry the whole time. The whole time I'm on the story going, and she was mad, and I'm going, were you fucking pissed, mate? Was that what it was? No. The Korean blood, yeah, but me going into a room, why would I go in there?
Yeah.
It was horrible. Great. I mean, it became the party.
Maybe she's just like pranking you.
It felt like
Niall and going,
I'd be so mean.
How dare you?
So mean. Every time this happened, I'm doing that thing where I go back to like my little 12-year-old Catholic Niall, where I know that other parents go, I like your mate Niall. He seems like a nice young man. Yeah. I go into that mode and I'm going, honestly, I'm a nice young man, and she's going, yeah.
I've only gotten rid of that in the past 2 years.
What the?
Trying to be a nice young man.
Yeah.
Boring.
It's not.
I'm not trying to be like nasty.
No, but it's a growing up thing, isn't it? You sort of go,
I'm like, this is me, and you can take it or you can fuck off, and that's fine.
Yeah, be nice.
And it's backing yourself where it's like.
Backing yourself is
the thing. Is like you gotta trust yourself that you're nice. You know what I mean? By this stage, like you know that you're nice.
Yeah.
And you just gotta go. Anyone that thinks I'm doing anything with any bad intentions just doesn't know me well enough.
That's
and
true.
That's okay. And
but see, there's a problem now where I think there's I know people, especially in the acting industry, who have decided, or they've got to the point where they've gone, I'm a nice person. I've got to this point and I know I'm well brought up and I'm nice, and therefore don't look after it, so they can be a cunt.
Yes.
And they
can, that's an issue.
I know people like that, and you go, do you really? You're supposed to. You want to go up to. I want to go up to people to go, do you remember you would like to ideally be thought of as a nice person? Do you know what I mean? People forget. But yeah, gig on the 11th of February.
Gig on the 11th of February. I've got mine. I'm doing the
Cut Blood and Curry.
This Irish comedy thing.
Yeah.
Micky's headlining.
When is it?
14th of March.
Class. That's a Friday. Valentine's Day.
Saturday. 14th of February, you're thinking.
14th of March.
So it's
Grand.
St. Patrick. Yeah, so it's like... So we've put the show at 5 p.m. because it's Ireland-France at 8 p.m.
Sorted.
So with the show, 5 till about 7. Pints. We've got a private room booked with big screens for the Ireland-France match. So we don't have to mingle with English people.
I'm so there. Because that's great, because I'll have a gig that night, but now I didn't realise that was what time they were kicking off, so I'll have to play after it.
Yeah.
So, sorted.
Grand.
Best gig I ever had was in a... do you know Tooting that well? I'm bored of people going, Tooting's class, by the way.
I was close to moving, because so many people were like, yeah, geez, Jack, come on down to Tooting. We've got a secret bar, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck. It's
unreal. There's a pub called The Antelope, and in the back room, there's like this, loads of comedians have gone there to like try out like a show before they've gone on tour with us. Who's the Camp Bold fella? Who's
I gigged with him. I gigged with him last week. Tom Allen. I met him for the first time last week. He's brilliant. The fucking nicest man as well.
Yeah, he seems like it. I think when you're that good and that sort of confident, you go, They probably are, do you know.
Fucking, yeah.
And I saw him do a show before I'd ever seen him on TV.
Brilliant.
In the Antelope. It was unreal. But we did a gig. It's this huge room that is mostly used for just quizzes and stuff. But they got a stage in the corner. And on St. Patrick's Day, I had a gig in there, my own gig, which is I always do on St. Patrick's Day. I always organise my own gig, so I don't want to spend my St. Patrick's Day sat in a corner singing to English lads with leprechaun hats on. So I decided years ago, I'm doing a Christy Moore style gig for Paddy's Day, and that's what I'm doing. But we did it in the Antelope, and it was in the same room. They have a big screen for the football in that room. Ireland beat England, and it's the final day of the Six Nations. And it was dangerous in there. It was. People are sat on the stage. There's a video of me, and have you ever been to the Harl at the Moon in Hoxton? No.
Beautiful pub.
I've heard of it.
Really, really nice. There's a trad session there every Saturday and Sunday. It's brilliant. I watched the Ireland-England match in there, and I took this with me. And I was stood, because you were just allowed to stand on the chairs. After the game, they were just like, yeah, it's fine.
It's class in there, let's stand on the chairs and all.
So good. So good. But I just something. It was snowing. Is that the year?
That was
it
the
was
year.
snowing.
That was the year.
And they gave me, they were like, do you have music? Because I'm in there quite a bit. They were like, do you have music we could put on? And I was like, fucking right. So I put on, I was like, it's snowing and it's St. Patrick's Day. So I put on Fairy Tale of New York.
Yeah.
And it was the dumbest shit ever because it's March. And everyone's going, it was Christmas Eve.
I think that song's allowed.
It's fucking brilliant, man. I mean, lots of people think that song's not allowed at all, but
yeah, bad phrases
from me. Hey,
yeah, I'm kind of with you. I mean, I'm with you. Do you know? There's only one. I won't go into it loads about Fairy Tale in New York, but obviously as an Irish musician, I play pubs around London in a sort of like pocket money way. It sounds like I'm an extras.
Beer money.
Well, it's my living, but it's not. I don't play music in Irish pubs over the weekend because I think that's how I don't play any of my own stuff. It's a separate job.
Yes,
It's almost like if you're an actor, you're going, well, me dressing up as a potato for the day and going around selling crisps is
or doing job. Like kids parties or doing
exactly.
anything like
it's
that.
It's part of what you do, but it's not anything to do with what you do. And where was it going with that? Playing in pubs.
Fairy Tale in New York.
Fairy Tale in New York. And so I play that song in places. And the without going into it loads, the thing that frustrates me about it so much is the biggest problem with that song, to do with the problems everyone has, is that everyone in England and in America, and probably a lot of young people in Ireland, think of Shane MacGowan as, oh yeah, it's that drunk Paddy who sings. And they think he's a novelty act. Yeah. And if you think Shane MacGowan is a novelty act, like a guy who just gets pissed and sings badly, then that use of the word is going to be offensive. Yeah. But then so is Keith Lemon saying potato.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
This is where I'm like, it's an issue that happens with comedians and musicians. So an example that's completely removed from this, but in a bizarre way is quite similar. Tyler, the Creator. He was banned from the UK a few years ago, and was literally until Boris got elected, he was still banned from the UK.
Why was he banned? By the way, I know the name. I don't know anything about that guy.
He's great. He just won a Grammy.
Class.
For rap.
I don't know who anyone is. I thought there was a guy called Dr. Drake until last year.
Fucking
I know nothing.
Class.
Yeah, I know nothing.
But so Tyler, he brought out this album when he was 17. His first album. It was called Goblin. Oh no, Bastard. And then Goblin was when he was 19.
I respect him when he makes an album called Bastard.
It's fucking class. And he does songs in it that are from the perspective of Ted Bundy.
Right, okay.
And it's a really interesting character
left field
concept piece of music. And Theresa May, when she was foreign secretary, was nah, his music and lyrics promote rape and violence. And I'm like, but he's playing a character. You're not banning Tarantino films.
Do you know what? That's Tarantino films is exactly where I go to back of these.
And it's and you're not banning Zac Efron playing Ted Bundy in a Netflix documentary or show or whatever. It's you have to be allowed to a lot of the art I like is people presenting points of view that are horrible.
People do terrible things in movies, man.
Yeah, and people do terrible things in real life.
Yeah.
And I hate when people are like, oh, you wrote that racist character, so you must have those ideas in your head somewhere. And I'm like, yeah, because I've heard people who are racist talking, and I wrote that.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you're only putting the information out again.
And this is my thing about that song, where it's a story about two people in an argument saying horrible things about each other.
A long time ago, yeah. And it's fair, because people always go, he shouldn't say it. I'm like, he never does. It's her. But the only thing, to be fair, a friend of mine made a point, and I find it hard to argue against, but I don't know what the answer is, because I still am, on one side of it, I suppose. But he was saying, as a gay person, like, it's really hard to watch people gearing up to shout that word, and I don't know what you do about the idiots who enjoy shouting that word in the song, who look forward to it, because to me it's just part of the song. But
well, what's interesting is, like, I sang it at the Guildhall Christmas concert. I sing it every year at the Guildhall
heard
Christmas
that on the
concert.
podcast, and I went, I want to do that. I'm absolutely pathetic with stuff like that. I'm like, oh, but why didn't they get in touch with me? I got annoyed because my friends are putting on a scratch night, and they're like asking me. They've got a singer-songwriter who's a boy on to do it, and they didn't ask me, and I've had to reason with myself and go, you're pissed off because you're basically going, well, why isn't everyone always thinking of me all the time when they're thinking about music? And it's mad. Sorry, carry on.
But the girl I sang it with, Eliza, who's been on the podcast and who's like one of my best friends in the entire world, she's got a girlfriend. Like, she's in a lesbian relationship. And she was like, you cheap lousy faggot! And I was like, we were both laughing about it on stage while it was happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's so offensive, Eliza. And she was like, I've got a fucking girlfriend.
It's hard. Well, I don't know what you do about it now, because as long as some people are.
But the thing is, like, being upset or being offended doesn't mean you're right. But it
true.
doesn't mean your feelings aren't valid.
No.
Like, you can be upset and wrong, and those feelings are still valid.
Yeah. It's one of those things when it's in the open and people are talking about it, it makes you think about it more. So I don't know really where I finished my thoughts on it.
Yes.
I've not got to the end. All I know is I did a gig at Christmas, and I've got many friends who come to me gigs. I've got many friends. I've got many friends. God, ending my career so early on. And having it been talked about so much, I couldn't do it at my gig. I mean, that wasn't me who was singing that part, but and that felt right. But I don't know where it goes. Do you know what I mean? It's hard, because I feel often with stuff like that, you end up doing stuff for other people rather than for yourself.
Yeah, and I mean,
which isn't a bad thing. That's being kind, but you go, well, how kind can you be?
Yeah, and like, I don't know if it's arrogant to be like, comedians are at like the forefront of that, of saying shit that you're not supposed to say.
Yeah. Yeah, that being said, I can't think of a single time in my life in the future where I'll end up writing a word like that in one of my songs, because it just wouldn't come up.
But that's you writing in your voice, and that's not how you talking.
Yeah. So
this is my thing with it. I think the thing that people hate the most, whether they admit it or not, is inauthenticity. So if you don't seem authentically that's the way you talk and that's what you want to say, and you're saying stuff to try and get away with it, people hate that.
Yeah.
Because there's a guy, I don't know if Joey Diaz,
don't know,
who's this big, fat Cuban American comedian, and he's like 57, and he's like been in prison for kidnapping. And like all this mad shit, and he's had like the maddest life ever. Like, was a drug dealer, did loads of drugs, off the drugs, has kids now.
But what's the deal with airline food?
But he says every single racial slur under the sun. But he talks like, if he's talking to you, he'd be like, listen, Niall McNamee, this is what you gotta do. And he, like, that's the way he talks. He's this big, gruff.
He doesn't apologise for it.
And everyone's like, well, that's Joey Diaz. That's what Joey Diaz does. Yeah. That's the way he talks. He's 57 and he grew up as an immigrant in like New York. Like, and that's how they all talked about everyone. And it's just, but nobody has an issue. Nobody fucking has a go at
bigger issues to deal with from his point of view. And
this is the thing. Yeah. And there's people like, there's a whole argument in Belfast at the minute in the comedy scene where it's like, oh, it's dominated by like straight white males, and I'm like, hey, Belfast is dominated by straight white males. Like
Yeah.
it's just a lot of fucking, and it's tricky where these people are going, oh, I feel so like whatever. But there's a guy, Paddy, who's one of the comedians, and he's great, and he grew up in Divis Flats, so he grew up like poor as fucking
Yeah.
anything. Like they used to play games in the flats where they would jump on top of the lift and like ride it up and down.
Fair
And he saw it when he was 9. He saw his mate just get,
Oh God.
and I'm like, and you're complaining about not getting on a comedy show that you haven't asked to be booked on. This is people anyway. This is a whole different discussion.
Yeah.
But I think there's inauthenticity where when you see a guy, and it looks like they're trying to get away with it, where they're like, I know this is wrong, and I'm gonna say it anyway. Like Stuart Lee has a bit where he says the N word on stage,
I'm not saying
and
that.
he's quoting a Tory campaign leaflet from back in the day, where it's like, if you want an N word for a neighbour, vote Labour. That was their
Really?
Yeah, that was their leaflets. But he says it because it needs it to portray how awful that is to set
Yeah.
up the tension for
Did
the
he get
punchline.
Did he get flack for it?
No.
Oh, good. Well, yeah. I don't know. I feel it.
It's a very. I don't like people just have these blanket rules. Can't say that. And Bill Burr says it's like giving racists or bigots a roadmap. It's like, well, if I don't say these words,
That's true.
I can say anything else and get away and still hold these opinions.
That's true. Yeah. Don't want to ride that map.
Oh, it's just like, because you get people who like you said, like well intentioned, super like the best, like the nicest, most kind hearted, or like they just want to put good into the world, and they say the wrong thing, and it's game over, and it's like
Yeah.
you're going after the wrong.
And so, yeah, I think the worst thing is obviously sometimes people have said terrible things
Yeah.
and they should be punished for it. But like, I mean, I assume from you saying just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. Means you're a fan of Ricky Gervais and that.
Not
sort of
the
stuff.
biggest fan. He's
But-
like, I kind of.
Context is everything is another thing that comes along with that. But yeah, I don't know.
We talked about Ricky Gervais on the last podcast with Tino and Scott.
Yes,
They're very inspired by The Office, and I've always said Ricky Gervais is a better writer than he is a stand-up comedian.
I disagree.
Really?
I don't think he's a good writer.
You don't think The Office is well written?
I love The Office. I think it's very, very well written. I love Extras. I think it's very, very well written. I can believe from watching everything since that Stephen Merchant was mostly in charge.
I think
of writing it.
Stephen Merchant
'Cause-
kind of did have
because
a lot more to do with it than people.
everything I loved about The Office, all the sort of not in your face sort of emotional moments, all these sort of like underlying things you're going, oh, it's so well done. I feel like since then and everything else has been, he plays Coldplay music under sad moments, and it's all very on the nose.
Yeah.
And have you seen Hello Ladies, the TV series that Stephen Merchant's written?
Is that just out?
No, it was out a good
No,
few
I haven't
years
seen
ago.
it.
That came out, and obviously it's not got the same traction as something Ricky Gervais
Yeah,
would be
it
putting
does.
up. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And I can only take from what I've seen that Stephen
That
Merchant
makes sense.
is the head behind it. So I think the reason for what I said is not because of my views on him being a stand-up. It's because of my views on him being a writer.
Yeah, because you just never know, I guess.
I watched Afterlife and people loved it, and I was like, do you
I
not
watched
see
a couple
all the
episodes
cogs
and
working
was
in this?
like,
Can you
yeah,
not see
it's
all the
very
and all the same
obvious.
actors, which is lovely for them, and I think it's really nice that he's loyal. But I'm sort of like, oh yeah, you were in that, and
You could give someone else a
Yeah.
fucking.
but I sort of Ricky Gervais is one of those people that you have to sort of go with him on it because he doesn't apologize for anything. Do you know?
Yeah, you're in or you're out, and I
Yeah.
like that. It's
Yeah.
just like, well, you can fucking take it.
I still watch it as well.
Yeah.
I still will watch all of them
Yeah.
and go, I kind of enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Have you seen Sick of It? Carl Pilkington's TV series.
No, I've a mate that's in that, but I haven't watched it.
Who's your mate playing? Do you know?
No idea. His name's Ross Smith. He doesn't like me, but it's like,
That's. I think you've got the wrong definition of mate. I've got a mate. I don't know much about him. Doesn't like me. Does he not like you because you don't know anything about him? You're like, oh yeah, you're my mate. What's your name again?
he doesn't. I do know about him, and like we spend time together, but he don't like me.
Have you had a thing? Has it something happened where you've gone,
I just take the piss out of him and he doesn't like it. And he like
him and he's
yeah.
I had a friend break up with me before Christmas. Talk about that later.
Friend break up?
Yeah, I've never had it before. It was the most bizarre thing that's ever happened to me. Yeah.
I think this is gonna happen with me and Ross. He messaged me recently being like, I honestly have no idea whether I hate you or not. But I get that with lots of friends because I will say outrageous shit just because I think it's a funny thing to say. Like I was doing comedians football on Sundays where a bunch of comedians get together and play five-a-side. It's really, really nice. And we came out of the pitches and there was this big group of like tourists all hanging around like talking, and I turned to my mate Neil and went, is this one of them gay pride marches? And my mate Neil just turned to me and goes, I don't know if you're a good person. And I was like, good.
Keeping your friends on your toes, on their toes.
I was just like, I like that. It's like in the movie, not Guard, but The Guard. Have you seen The Guard with Brendan Gleeson and Don Cheadle?
Yeah. I was trying to work out.
Like,
I didn't know if it was The Guard or Guard. I was going, I've seen one of them. I don't know.
And he's like, I can't work out if you're really motherfucking dumb or really motherfucking smart. And I think that's like the best shit ever.
What a line.
Yeah, I think that's like people like Bob Mortimer, where he's just so silly, but he's clearly fucking
Mortimer Reeves.
Smart.
Star. What's their show? Shooting Stars.
Yeah.
Come along, and let's start shooting stars. I got really into them just because I loved Morecambe and Wise, and he reminded Rhys reminded me so much of him.
Have you seen Gone Fishing with Mortimer and Whitehouse?
No.
Best show on TV. So it's Bob Mortimer and Paul Whitehouse who did the Fast show. No, it's on BBC iPlayer.
That's what I've seen.
Paul Whitehouse did the Fast show, which is like and
the Fast show.
So they've both had like big heart attacks, and they're just going fishing, and it's just them hanging out. Paul Whitehouse teaches Bob how to fish. Bob sorts out the food and accommodation, and it's the best thing. It's amazing.
Give it a look. Have you seen is the Fast show the one with William Ulsterman?
No, that's Harry Enfield.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the wrong one. Yeah.
Cheese and pineapple on a stick.
For millions of years, my people. I remember auditioning, and Anto got actually auditioning to play a young Ian Paisley. And me and my dad were in Gibraltar watching Ireland versus Gibraltar, and we were in a hotel, and I got this tape through. Had to do 2 tapes with my dad, and I did this big speech as Ian Paisley, and I had to be, like, no, never, no more, and all that sort of stuff. And he was going, keep the fucking noise down. What? They won't know what's going on because it was a proper like long speech.
He's a fucking roaring man, like.
Oh no, never, and all that. Yeah. I would have loved to got that part. Interesting.
That's an interesting role to
but
play.
Anto got it, sadly. Yeah. Only mate's just getting... Anto's moving in properly, and Chris Wally might be moving in with me soon.
Oh, lovely.
And a few others. And I've started to go, I can't wait, moving in with the boys. And I'm going, yeah, you're also moving with like 2 very successful Irish actors. Is your head going to be all right, mate? Because I first met Chris on the tube, and the first thing I said to him was, you got my part, you cunt. Actually, no, I said, are you Chris Wally? Because I knew I was in the last 2 for Lieutenant of Inishmore.
Man, that's one of my favourite roles in the entire world.
And I just was like, this is my part. And then I found out that he got it, and I just watched Young Offenders at Christmas, and I was like, oh, good. I was like, good. Yeah. I'm glad that he's got it. Thank fuck nothing came of that part for him, and didn't lead to any success like in Olivia.
I was talking to him when he was because the other guy Alex from Young Offenders.
Yeah, he might be moving as well.
He's playing.
Yeah, he's doing the same part in the Abbey, is it?
Yeah. And Wally was like, "I'm gonna go," and you'll just hear from the back just. And everybody be like, what the fuck's going on? He was like, sorry, I just dropped my Olivier. I'm sorry. I
would love to be there for
Apparently he used to do that. What's his fucking name that was in it with him? Muscly, handsome man.
What, in the Young Offenders?
No, in Lieutenant.
Oh, Aidan Gillen. No, Aidan Turner.
Yeah. Chris had his fucking IFTA on his dressing room table. I was like, do you have one of these?
Oh my god.
That was great. That was one of the best productions I've ever seen.
I didn't get to see it. So I was in Belfast.
I was standing on my seat at the end.
Were you?
What? My feet just came up my seat, and I was like I was at the very back as well. I was like,
I wish I'd seen it.
Phenomenal. It's one of my favorite plays.
Yeah, I was just love to get it. I well, look, it doesn't matter. I'm not better. I'm class at stuff, so it's fine.
Fair.
Don't worry about it.
Chris Wally can't sing.
Well,
I don't know if he
not
can
yet. You never know. Maybe one of those
sing.
lads.
He's too
does.
gangly. Gangly people can't sing.
Is that true?
Name one lanky singer.
Who's the? I don't know any singers. That's the problem. But I know who's the one with the long hair and the hat.
Fucking.
James Bay.
I thought you were gonna say Hosier.
Both of them.
Hosier's supposed to be
Gangly.
really tall.
Gangly, lovely singers.
Fuck. I just came up with that on the top of my head, and I thought I'd smashed it.
Yeah. Oh, luckily, two musicians I knew were
Real tall.
were
Real tall.
real tall. But yeah, no. So it'd be kind of weird living with those boys. But 2 Oliviers in one house.
Well.
But have they got Player of the Year for Tooting Celtic?
Honest, is there a Tooting Celtic?
Yeah, man.
Oh man,
They're amazing. They changed my life moving to Tooting, and then I saw an article. My dad sent me a post when I moved to Tooting from the Irish Post saying it's a football team called Tooting Celtic, and those boys are the best. They'll all be down at the gig as well. They're
That's fucking.
they're class. They're a great bunch of lads, as the phrase goes.
The fucking
and we're really good. They train, and I play for the Irish Embassy as well on Sundays. We're playing like an embassy league.
mad. That must be a tense league.
Why?
Who do you play against? Like North Korea?
No, there's loads of embassies, man. Play against Brazil and Argentina and
Are
Japan.
they real good?
Yeah, I'm a bit skeptical about the Japanese players. A bit skeptical. To me, I don't know how many Japanese passports are in the Japanese team.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
But they're shite anyway. So, yeah. But I don't play for them anymore really as much. But Tooting Celtic, the boys, you get all the gear. Because that's what you do for the O'Neill's gear and all that.
Yeah. Well, I played my mate's team, which is the Plymouth Argyle Supporters Club. They needed an extra player, and my mate was like, "Look, would you come down and play?"
Celtic one anymore. They used to be one in London.
Mad. But I was like, who you playing against? And he was like, a Rangers Supporters Club, and I was like, tell me where and when.
And Plymouth playing.
I started 4 fights.
Did you?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't hard.
No.
I bumped into one, and the guy booted me in the stomach.
Oh, right.
Like I shouldered him off the ball, and he swung a side kick at me like a fucking Muay Thai fighter, except with tattoos on his face.
Yeah.
But they were mental. They were
see
like, "I'll see you after the game," and I was like, "No, you won't."
Really?
No, you won't. I don't like that. Like
there's no need
that
for that.
real intense shit. It's like.
Well, we had a
about
game
football.
coming up against Tooting Celtic versus Southwest Rangers. We were like this big, and we were all pumped up and ready for it, and then they had nothing to do with Rangers at all. That was just part
It's
of their
just
name.
like
It was a
Queens
real-
Park Rangers.
It was a real. We lost that day, and I think it was because we'd assumed that it was a local.
Yeah,
derby,
you had a big
against-
adrenaline
We
dump.
thought it was an old firm, and it just was not.
That's a shame. I was gonna ask you about, so acting wise, what's been your path? How did you get?
So, I went to, I moved to London to go to Arts Ed drama school, and I probably a bit naive. I didn't really know a lot about drama schools and stuff,
Yeah.
and it was a great school, and everyone in my year was lovely and got on well with them and stuff. But a few months in, I was like losing my mind, and it just wasn't working out for me. And I was too eager. I just wanted to go. I to be honest, in that young arrogance you have a little bit, especially I think a lot of actors have it, where you go, yeah, I'm going to drama school because I want to train and I want to get into the industry. And then if a lot of people would go, yeah, but here's a lead part in a movie, you got him out there, don't you?
Yeah.
Which is arrogant, because of course there's things that you can take from it. And I remember going to the head of year and saying to him, when do we do shows in front of like industry people, like agents and stuff? And he was like, end of third year. And I was like, nah, I can't do that. I didn't realise, I thought you did shows all the time and then you just sort of left when you did. So I left, and then I got part in the National Youth Theatre. They did, which was perfect. It was exactly what I needed. It was a 9-month thing called the MYT Rep Company.
Yeah, that I've heard fucking class.
Anyone who wants training for 9 months, not 3 years, you do like 5-6 months of like workshops and stuff, and then you do 3 or 4, I think, plays they do now in Rep on the West End. And we did it at the Ambassadors where Stomp used to be.
Yeah,
got signed.
which is a lovely theatre.
It's awesome.
Lovely
They're doing it
size,
up as
very
well.
fucking.
It was great, and we did Romeo and Juliet and all that. We got an agent from that. It's been up and down, like. But I have fought Jackie Chan on behalf of the IRA. So
That's what.
do you know what I mean?
That's what dreams are made of, really.
That was the most bizarre. Have you seen that, The Foreigner?
I haven't seen it. I meant to
Pierce
watch it because it
Brosnan.
seems like the most mental film in the entire world.
Yeah, I remember us as actors sort of sitting in the green room, you know, sort of, and doing the read through, and all of us going, this could be one of those things where we're not allowed to go home again after this because it means so much to people, and it's set in modern day, and you know, Pierce Brosnan is essentially playing Jerry Adams, and but people seem to really like it.
Yeah.
People seem to really like it, and I was just buzzing to get paid and to fight Jackie Chan, it was so cool. I literally managed to get to 0 the day before I got paid for that job, and then the next day had more money in my account than I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
Not now. Money changes as you get older. Now you go,
for sure.
That's not going to last long in London. But at the time I was like, I don't know what I spent that money on. It's all gone. That's what I know.
That's why I try
didn't go on
and invest
holiday
in shit that's like a bit expensive and go, so it's tangible and it's something I have.
Yeah. I don't know where that money went, but it didn't go on holiday. It didn't go on any. It must have been pints and just eating out and just being lazy.
Eating out's a fucking big one. Transport. I bet you got
Rent.
a fucking load of taxis.
Yeah, Ubers and stuff probably did.
That
And
adds
then,
up so
of
fast.
course, which is a classic story, is after that, didn't save enough for tax, and then I was more skint than I'd ever been in my life. So
That's so classic.
But I've been told by actors that's what's supposed to happen when your first
you
big
do that.
paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I go, well, the next one will look after it. There's not been a big one since, but and then yeah, just I've done a few plays, and I did that short film with Jonathan Harden.
He's cool. He's back in London.
Yes, I'm
He's
gonna go
got-
and watch his play at the Fimbra.
Play on film.
On McQuillan's Hill, it's called. Give him a wee plug. Just sort of doing bits and bobs, and then Good Vibrations in Belfast absolutely changed everything, because it was just from a breakup and not working loads before the breakup to going to Belfast. It was about punk. It was hanging out with people from Belfast and this fuck you attitude. And I then worked last year pretty solidly. Like, we did Chasing Bono at the Soho.
Yeah.
Which was with. Did you watch? So Dennis Conway, who's from Cork, who was in Lieutenant.
He's brilliant.
He was in that with me,
Fantastic.
and then me and Chris were like,
I
well,
met
this
him
is
very
mental.
briefly, but he's fucking.
He is one of my best mates. We still see each other all the time and go for pints, and you know, if me and Chris are together, we'll send a picture, and he's like, me boys, you know, he's
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I just, you know, I felt the moment at the end of last year, because I went and did a show in the Belfast Opera House, and I went on tour and then finished in the Gaiety about the Miami show band, and it was great, and it was good fun, and you know, it didn't sell well enough probably, but it was great crack, and you know, got to play music and stuff, and then I got to the end of that, and I was like, I need to do screen. I'm glad that I've done these plays in Belfast, and it's been amazing for me confidence, but at the end of it I come back to London where I live, and I'm skint again, and I've got to start all over again with the gigs.
Because it's really, I remember when I got that fucking equity contract, I was like, holy fuck, this is so much money.
Yeah.
And then, kind of in the middle of it, I was like, how much money is this? And I was like, beep, 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 beep. Right, so that's like 20 grand a year, which is just like a normal salary.
Yeah.
Like, not even good.
Yeah.
That's like,
It's really poor.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's like an entry
It's
level.
really poor, mate. You should
It's
sort
an
of
entry level office job, and that's what most theatre acting jobs pay.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time being like, this is fucking crazy. Taking myself out for dinner and all, just going mad. But it was like,
But then you think, I don't know, but I've realised as I've grown up, because people are talking about wages and stuff all the time, and a living wage and stuff, is it doesn't quite occur to it doesn't necessarily apply to people like you and me, because unless you've got a family, that's when I go. Because I was working on the building sites, and they were going, it's not. I was on the building sites before I did gigging and stuff, and that mostly because I listened to Christy Moore and the romantic idea of doing that and having a van. And I go, I've got this job pretty quickly, and I don't see why it's difficult to get a job, and it's 70 quid a day. It's nothing to be on a building site. It's fucking terrible. But at the time I was going, that's loads, and I was going, that's fine, but you don't think about that wasn't enough.
people
at
have
all.
3 people to support, or 4 extra people in their house, or fucking.
It's unthinkable.
You're paying rent for 4 people. You're getting food for 4 people. You're doing this for 4 people. It's fucking mental.
Yeah. I love the work in the building sites, but if it wasn't paid enough. But I actually quite liked the physical labour of it, although it killed me.
I've kind of when I was in school, I remember saying to my dad, I was like, I want to pack this in and do an apprenticeship. And he was like, you're to go to school until they stop paying for it. Then by the time I got through like A levels and stuff, I was like, what do I want to do next? Fuck, I'm good at percussion, so I'll go fucking do that. But because I'd mates that I played rugby with, because I played for like a very working class East Belfast rugby team.
Nice.
So I've mates who are joiners, electricians, bricklayers, and I was like,
those mates' lives can look very cushy, can't they?
Well, I'm like, I was trying to write a joke about it, but I don't know how relatable it is. I was like, I've got a lot of working class friends, and they all have more money than me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Which is like, but it's like,
it's so true though.
And they're kind of like, some of them are moving like where they're off the tools, they're working in the office or surveying or doing whatever, and they're kind of working their way through that system. But they seem very, like, one of my mates seems very stressed about it. He's like, my life's over. I've got a house, I've got a car, I've got a fiance. I'm in this job until I die. And I was like,
how old are you?
23.
Right, so I mean, yeah, I'm 26 just, and that would seem a lot right now to have all that sort of stuff sorted out.
I'm allergic to having a path laid out in front of me.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Do you ever get that thing though that I think people who aren't actors think about us, where I sometimes go, I can't really complain about being skint when I am, or I can't have the same complaints that people our age have about how fucked the country is, because my job is essentially always going to be this difficult to get work until you make it.
Yeah. I
don't know that to be true, but I sometimes
a lot?
No, but like when I'm going, oh, the country's fucked, and there's not enough livable jobs for people, and that's the government's fault.
You're allowed to feel those things on behalf of other people.
Yeah, but I think I have to remind myself that
it doesn't apply to you on a level.
Do you know how difficult it is for young people like me? And I'm like, yeah, but this doesn't, I feel more sorry for someone who's doing a job to get to, because they go, this is the job I'm gonna have to do to live. And
it's
then they
funny
can't do it.
When people are like, people in our generation will never be able to buy a house, and I was like, hey, actors.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. I go, yeah, well, don't live in London, don't be an actor. You might have a chance, but then I don't know what I'd do. It'd be terrible. I know that the most money I can make is by being a poor actor.
This is the thing where it's like fucking. That's why I like people that you have to do it. And someone said it to me before I went to music college. They're like, if you want to go to music college and be a classical musician, you need to do it every day. And I was like, well, that's not true. Like, it's just a job like any other job. But I was like, no, I've gotten to the point where if I take one night off stand-up comedy, I'm like, you'll see me tweet a lot. Because I'll be like sitting in the house, just like jokes, just like firing out of every pore of my body, and
I think that'll change.
What do you mean?
I think. I don't know. I think you'll find a way to not need to do it every day of the week, or 6 days a week.
See, my argument against.
Do you really do it that often? That's incredible. 6 nights a week. I'm well impressed with that.
So like I did.
It's gonna look terrible when I don't come to any of them now, and you're doing it that often.
Yeah. Check out my gig lists. They're on my Instagram.
It's a lovely wee book.
It's lovely. It's my diary. So, when was the last day I didn't gig? Thursday, and today's Wednesday.
I suppose it's more routine for you now. You don't have to.
And I cancelled the gig tomorrow night because it's date night.
Oh yeah.
And then South Kensington.
Date night.
Date night with the missus.
See, this is where I thought it would change. Then does she not get an idea for?
No, I told her pretty much when we got together. I was like, I have to do this.
And she's grand with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's maybe
I showed her some videos of big stand-up comedians saying you got to be out every night, otherwise you won't make it. And also, I need to get the amount I write. And again, it seems arrogant, but I'm being honest. I write a lot more than a lot of people on my level of stand-up comedy in terms of volume of material. And if I don't get it out, I spent yesterday, like a chunk of time yesterday, writing down all the bits I've forgotten to try. Like going through my phone, like making a note and going, I meant to try that, and just haven't because I've been working on.
So how much of a set is set, and how much of it, percentage-wise, would you say roughly is like brand new, trying stuff out every night.
Depends what I'm doing. So it's like tonight, it's my night that I'm hosting. So I do a lot of crowd work at that because I'm like the MC, and I go like, "What's your name? What do you do for a living?" Da 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 da. And then because it's my night, I kind of like once I've got everyone on board, like maybe in the second half, I'll do like a new bit that I've been working on, and then like everyone's on board enough that I can go back into crowd work, and then we're okay. But it's like. And I was hosting so I host on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Tuesday South Kent, Wednesdays my night in Dalston, and then basically if I'm not getting paid, I'm doing some kind of new line or to an old joke, or like a rewording of a joke, or like a brand new idea even. And it's like, it depends on those shows, because it's like if you're getting paid, if you're trying to like impress someone, you have to do the old stuff that like, oh mate, I've got a bit about Freshers Week and like meeting English people for the first time, and I did it on Friday at a gig, and it was because it's this gig where I have to like, I was trying to impress, it was for this agency or whatever, and it was like fine, but like I got to the end of the whole Freshers Week chunk, and I felt my brain like come back into my head because I was just elsewhere. Like I just did the whole like 3-minute bit,
autopilot,
and then like woke up and was like, okay, what's next?
That's weird.
Because that was one of the first bits I wrote, and I've been going nearly 2 years now.
Are you sure enough about that then? So like it always goes down well, and there's no bother.
I know the absolute rhythm to it.
This sounds like a stupid question, but I don't know. I don't know the intricate workings of, because I do that with songs all the time. In fact, gigs, please book me. Gigs like in Irish pubs, I don't need to check in to play Spancel Hill or Sean South or anything like that. It's just all the words are in there. Do you know what I mean? Which is bad, because I find that when you're on your own and you're travelling to a pub in the middle of fucking nowhere to play a gig to like this half packed out pub where no one's listening to you, if you don't need to concentrate on playing the guitar or singing or the words, then you're just essentially stood there thinking for 3 hours, and it's hard because you just get so bored. Yeah,
I do silly things to try and like keep my brain active. I'll be like, I'm gonna try and do this whole set without moving my feet, or like I'm gonna hold the microphone in my left hand because normally I hold it in my right hand.
That's a good idea.
And just like the odd little thing where I'm like, just some kind of focus to keep me alive. It's like those little games. I remember hearing about that fucking mental RSC years where it was like Ian McKellen and Judi Dench and stuff in the same like Royal Shakespeare Company, and Judi Dench kind of felt like they were doing Macbeth, like that fucking famous Macbeth that they did, where everyone was like, "This was the fucking best Macbeth ever." And
this is Macbeth. This is it. Yeah.
And Judi Dench felt everyone getting a bit going through the motions or whatever, and then she gets to a point, and she goes right, and she gives everyone a little tiny red pin, and says, "Put this somewhere on your costume, and come back to me at the end of the show and tell me how many red pins you spotted on other people's costumes."
Oh, that's good.
And there was a bit where like Banquo goes down on one knee to like Macbeth, and he had like a pin stuck in the sole of his shoe, and it was just all these things. It just keeps everyone like in the room.
Pass the egg, all those games.
Yeah, but it's just silly things, and it's hard where you don't want to be. There's games where people are trying to make you corpse and trying to fuck you up on stage, and that seems disrespectful to the audience and whatever. But it's like,
you gotta find the line. Yeah,
you gotta find the line of where it keeps it alive versus where it is disrespectful. And you guys it seems like an in joke.
Yeah,
you can't have in jokes on stage, otherwise that's like fucking.
No, I think you need to learn that as well. I got that wrong in my earlier days.
That's the fucking
little bit. I mean, Shakespeare, when we did Romeo and Juliet, I just didn't know anything about Shakespeare. I didn't know anything about Shakespeare really, and was just doing it and sort of literally going, "What does that mean?" Right, I'll just say it like that.
Yeah.
And there's a point where Juliet goes, "Wherefore art thou, Romeo?" And I'm like, hiding. And I used to go right here and sort of point down, like as a joke to the audience, which is mental. It's a crazy thing to do. But I used to get a bit of a laugh to the school kids. So I was like, "Oh, cool, I'll do that," because it got a laugh. And
actors love chasing laughs sometimes, and it's like,
I know you've got to not do it though, because you realise like, and then I remember blanking one night on my lines and making up the words, and it was fucking Shakespeare. And that was the most terrifying thing.
Yeah.
I was backstage. I just remembered I was backstage. We've been doing the run for about a month and a half, and I could smell this really strong smell backstage, really like eye-watering smell. And I was like, "What's that?" And it was like Tiger Balm. Juliet uses it to cry. And I went, "What?" She went, "Just put it on her eyes," and then she cries. And I went, "Great!" And I got some just before I went on, and just rubbed it straight in my eyes. How thick am I? I'd never used Tiger Balm or anything. Rubbed it in my eyes, and I was pretty much blind for the whole second half of the play. I was walking on stage like, not very good for a podcast, but just like looking. I just couldn't move them at all, and cause she'd obviously just put a little bit on the sides of her nose or something just to get water flowing freely.
See, I've a cheat. When I yawn, my eyes water loads. So I just.
So you have to be bored and terribly upset.
Well, I did As You Like It, because I auditioned for drama school after graduating from Guildhall. Yeah, which is weird.
Bizarre.
And I'm not. I've finally decided I'm not doing this. Guildhall is great, and I wouldn't have found out that I wanted to be involved in acting or theatre in any way had I not gone to Guildhall.
Yeah.
And it was pure fluke. I didn't know Guildhall was a drama school before I went.
Yeah, I remember hearing you say that. You didn't know at all. You just thought it was a music school.
I showed up. I was like, "What do you play?" So I was like, "I'm an actor," and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Whatever part is gifted to me. What are you on about, man? You got that wrong, mate. It's a music school. This guy's the wrong place. Wrong place now. Sorry, I got obsessed in Belfast last time with the "and-all" thing. "And-all." It really makes me laugh. Because it sums up everything. You go, "Yeah, we're going traveling. We're going to Turkey and all."
Yeah, Turkey and all.
The rest of the world, Turkey and all. Going to Brazil and Sweden and all.
Sorry. I wanted to ask you about, because I'm writing this play at the minute when I fucking get this laptop charger so I can fucking get the play off my old laptop.
So you come to me, the master.
To a master of laptop chargers, or?
Yes. Which one do you need?
I was going to ask you, because you've written a play which is called Shootout.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, because in that vein of what we were talking about earlier, of just like putting out whatever artistic content is coming the most flowingly at that point in your life, whether it's music, whether it's acting, whether it's writing. Because I've never been able to write songs as much as I've tried, as much as I trained as a musician or whatever. It's just never come. I've tried a lot of different times, and obviously like the first time you do something, it will be shite and you kind of have to accept that, but whatever it is, I've just never been able to fucking get it sussed. But I found writing a play came quite quickly, and like I write poems and stuff. So is it a different process when you're writing a play versus when you're writing songs, or what? How does it feel?
Yeah, I've tried to write plays before, and they've been terrible. Or the lads have read it and gone, I think you just needed to get that off your chest, mate. I don't think that's, Shootout is the only play that I've written and come back to and gone, I'm happy with this. And I would read it today, and there'd be things that I want to change, but roughly speaking, I go, fucking hell. The difficulty I have with Shootout is I won't be able to repeat. If I write another play, which I might and I might not, it won't be like Shootout, because I wrote Shootout in 3 days.
Right.
I blitzed it and just did it, and I was happy with it. It was just after I had the breakup, and I wrote it and sent it out to theatre straight away. Yeah. And then went to Belfast, and it wasn't until later in the year that the White Bear, which is where Tino and Scott, they'd just done Unemployed Actors. They were like, "Do you want to put it on for a week?" And I just had enough confidence because I've been working and I'd saved a bit of money that I was like, "Fuck it." The only thing that really helped me and made it an awesome process. Like, I loved it. It's I don't know about you, but like in the industries we're in, I can find if there's like a down period where you're like feeling shit about it, or you have a bad day, and suddenly you go, you can end up going, everything I've done up to this point is useless. This play, no one saw it. That play, it was good. That was a good part in something, but it was in a small thing, or that was a terrible part in a really big thing. Either way, it's the same. Or you can go over everything you've done and go, I'm nowhere. I've not done anything. Fuck. But Shootout, I'll never do that with that. I'll always be like, I'm really proud of that.
That's class.
But the reason why it was so not terrifying in the slightest was I just realised I was like, I've never written a play before, and I've never directed one,
Mhm.
so this will be shit. And if
Yeah,
it
you
isn't,
can't. You just have
bonus.
to let it be.
But if it isn't shit, and I kept up rehearsing, and I was going, I don't think this is shit. I think this is okay. I was like, well, if it goes shit, then I guess then I'm not good at that thing I've never done before, and that's fine.
You should, yeah.
And that's not me being like
as you
wanky
shouldn't
about
be.
it.
Yeah,
And
but
that wasn't
like,
something I set out. It was just me realizing, like, I was like, there are no people going, are you nervous? I was like, no, not even a little bit.
yeah.
I'd love it if people liked it. Half the reason I again with me selling tickets, I got a sales report back every week we were doing the show,
Mhm.
and I would always do something on the last day before the sales report, just so I could see how much sold. And I swear to God, I sold fuckload of tickets when I put up an advertisement thing going, hey, if you're my mate, imagine if this is shit, how funny would that be? And I
Yeah.
swear to God, because I think there's a part of people that goes, wouldn't it be mad if we went, if this was absolutely
people
fucking terrible?
people like that idea of people taking risks,
I guess so.
and like I had that mad thing where I was doing that comedy competition last week, and I missed a flight because I forgot my passport,
Oh shit, yeah.
and then something in my brain just went, fuck this, I'm going to Gatwick and getting a later flight. So I went from Stansted to Gatwick, and on the way picked up my passport, got a later flight, just about made the gig in time, won the semi-final, I'm through to the final.
Sword. Where
So-
was it then?
Dublin.
Yes, that's right. Class.
And people just love that fucking, like,
God loves a
because
triumph.
although you were saying imagine this was shit, in a way that's you going, it's not.
Interesting.
And
Maybe you're right.
I think people like that, and people get annoyed at me because they say I'm like arrogant or whatever. Like I did
Oh, you've got to be a little
I did
bit.
that King Gong on Monday at the Comedy Store, which
Yeah.
is like the toughest open mic night in the world. So it's like,
Gives me the fear just thinking
now,
about
do you know the structure of it?
Well, people
You have
have
to
three
try
gongs or
and
something like that.
3 cards, so you have
Yeah.
to try and do 5 minutes, and if you beat it, you go to the final, and then you do 1 minute.
I imagine
then-
the biggest problem with that is just wanker audience members.
Yeah, it's 400 city workers being cunts.
So the wrong person must win that all the time.
Not all the time. Like if you're not funny, they will fucking gong you off. Like,
But they're not ready to
sometimes-
laugh then, are they?
No, once you get them on side, they are. It's very like Colosseum. Like they're looking for heroes and villains. Like if you look really weird and then do really well, they're like fucking behind you because they're like, that's our fucking guy. Like we made him good. Or they're far too
Yeah,
involved in it.
that's
They're far too
interesting.
much control over the thing. But I posted. Because it's like hard to beat or whatever, and people are always like, "Oh, it's so tough. I can never do King Kong or whatever." And I posted on Facebook because I always do my little gig post every day where it's like South Ken Comedy Club tonight, thank you. And then I did beating King Kong tonight, thank you. And then I won it. And I'm just like, people would have
You
been annoyed.
visualized it, man. You put it
I
in the
hate
universe,
all
and I
that shit.
can't.
My mate Aaron does that, and I fucking hate it because he lived in LA for a year and he thinks he's somebody.
Yeah.
Um,
I think life is so much better and simpler if you see how shit things are and just work with it. You go,
And just
okay, they're the
fuck
rules. I
around.
fucking hate them, but if I can play by them, then I won't need those rules one day.
Yeah,
you know?
and I like that ballsiness. I like people going, oh well, fucking why not? Like if you've met Ryan Hunter,
Yeah.
he will look you in the eye and say, I'm the best actor in the world,
Yeah. Loads of people will. Yeah.
and then you're like, what? And he's like, prove me wrong.
Yeah. But it's not going to do him any harm.
It's inarguable. Like you can't.
Yeah.
He might be.
If you can channel that,
Yeah, go on with the confidence.
and you've got the reason to believe it,
Yeah.
I think that can fade. I think that's the worst thing for actors. I definitely seen it fade with myself as well.
I think as soon as I got any.
Every actor should start their career like that. I think.
Yeah.
Every actor should go.
Well, I say that to people. People are like, "Oh yeah, I'd be happy if I could just make a decent living from comedy." And I'm like, when your actor's like, "Oh, what kind of actor do you want to be?" They're always like, "Oh, I don't really want to be like in big stuff or whatever. I'd be happy if da da da." And I'm like, "You're lying to me and yourself."
I just want to do good work. I just want to do good work. I want to yeah. I have a theory that in drama school, and I don't know what it's like in music, but there's loads of games that you play at the start, and often, I don't know who started this with acting. It happens in rehearsals. It happens for like professional stuff, and it happens in National Youth Theatre and Drama. Is they get people in a circle and they sit around, And the thing with the guy, my name's Niall and I like football, and you gotta pretend to kick a ball, and they're like, oh. And someone often, like at the start of drama school when you're young, comes in and goes, now, if you're here to be really like successful and famous, then leave now, because that doesn't happen. Or if it does, it's very rare. Or if that's the reason you're doing it, that's the wrong reason, because you might all work, but steadily, and you might make a living, but all steadily. And everyone in the room goes, yeah, nods their head, yeah. And every single one in that room's gone, apart from me, obviously, because I'm me. And that's, And I believe...
Might as well be honest with yourself and go, I think I can be one of the best comedians in the world, and I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Why not?
It's fucking...
Why not?
Why would I be doing it otherwise?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you. I have nothing else to say on that. I think... oh, fuck the mics. I was always really concerned with any friends of mine who really... They wouldn't take their head out of an acting book. And I'm like, is it really that difficult? But then there's an arrogance of that I regret as well, because I never said that to them, but like part of me, whenever there's a doubt in my head or I go, fuck, I don't know, I'm going to do this, I always go, maybe if I'd stayed at drama school, I'd know how to do this, but I wouldn't. I
like all that stuff that were like, who was it? Dustin Hoffman, when he was very young, was in a movie with some massive actor. Like one of those called maybe Marlon Brando or someone like that, and they had to do the scene where Dustin Hoffman was playing this like crack addict or whatever, and he was like supposed to be like knackered, so he like stayed up all night and like was running up and down, like getting all sweaty, and like didn't shower and like fucking whatever, and he was telling this to like Marlon, I don't think it was Marlon Brando, but whoever it was, and the guy was just like, you should try acting.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Like,
that's I think Laurence Olivier said that to Marilyn Monroe as well.
Yeah.
Something like that. It might have been Laurence Olivier. I mean, no, they wouldn't have crossed over. Maybe.
That might have been it. But it's like,
I know
it's
Laurence
that thing
Olivier
where it's
said
like, it is playing make-believe, and I always say you just have to remember that the people watching the TV and the people in the theatre are pretending just as much as you're pretending.
Of course.
Because we all know it's not.
I mean,
real.
let's face it. It's a bizarre concept. Theatre.
It's primal.
Movies,
it's storytelling.
Yeah, but it's so
weird that everyone buys into it.
I don't mind. People can do whatever they want, because I don't have a process. That's the most frustrating thing for me, is that I've never. If I get a script or an audition, I go,
what do I feel like doing?
How do I start? What's the first thing I do? And I go, I don't know. But some people do, and some people are still trying to find theirs. And as long as it doesn't affect anyone else, grand.
I think Jonathan Harden's had a big thing about. Did a show with a guy that was always listening to music before he went on stage, and he missed his fucking call.
Yeah, I can't be
3 or 4 times, and you're like, hey.
But I respect
take one earphone out.
Well, I remember that I don't think the National Youth Theatre will ever let me talk on behalf of them again, because I remember when we were doing Romeo and Juliet, some students from Juilliard came over, and they did a Q&A afterwards, and they were talking about, they were going, what's your process, what's your warm up, and they asked me, and I just answered honestly. I was like, cup of tea and a Red Bull, and I sit down, because I wouldn't do that now. I understand physically now, as I'm getting older, why I should warm up.
Mm-hmm.
Vocally, I still need to be convinced that I should vocally warm up. The reason being,
well, your natural speaking voice is very resonant.
Well, but the thing is we're doing musicals and stuff, like song plays that I've done a lot of stuff that's me singing throughout it, and there's like, in a musical, there's a song and then there's loads of bits of talking, and then there's a song and all that sort of stuff. And I know it's long, it's a large song, and it's tiring, but 3 hours, 3 or 4 times a week, each playing in an Irish pub with a terrible microphone, singing non-stop and having a 15-minute break every now and again, over people talking, and not losing, like. I've got 5 gigs this weekend. Yeah. Over 3 days. 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. And I don't even think to warm up ever. That's me now. Physically I will warm up, but like, I used to just watch everyone warm up in the morning and just sit there with a cup of tea. And that's what I like to do. Yeah. And I think people are more open to that now, but at the age of when you're 18, 19, 20 and everyone wants to be an actor, everyone's read the books, and they're going, but you can't do that. You've got to warm up. And I'm going, well, why? Why can't you warm up like that? And my warm up is sitting down, chilling out, because I'm fucking wrecked. I've been on a building site this morning.
Because I like to do, anytime I've done it, I like to do yoga because I like to have everything just. I think have you met Shubham?
Who?
Shubham Saraf.
I don't think so.
He's episode
Welsh
something of this podcast.
No.
No, Japanese. But I remember I did a bit of work with him when I was auditioning for drama school the first time, and I remember thinking, I still think this is the worst idea ever to get a few coaching sessions with people who've graduated from drama school fairly recently, because what they do is they give you a little peek into all of the things you learn at drama school, and now I'm aware of all of these things, but I don't know how to do them. So for a long time, anytime I was on stage, I was like, I should be doing this, should be doing this, should be doing this, should be doing this, but I hadn't. You either have to fucking do it or not know about it at all.
I'm with you.
Do you know what I mean? Where
and that is that grey area in the middle, which I think we all get to for a bit.
Where I'm just super self-aware, like, I think
everyone goes through phases of having to pick one or ignore it, and I've decided that I'm never going to be able to sit down and read all those acting books and see it, and it doesn't interest me enough. And that's also another thing, you sort of go over time. Another thing about growing up as well is you start to realise what it is you are and are not capable of doing. And one thing I have is reading books. Yeah, I can read just to make it clear. Yeah. But
I find it tricky. I've kind of gotten a little bit. There's a really good one I read recently called Pimp. It's a good book if you don't read books. It's This
is the description of every book anyone's ever said to me. That's a good book if you don't read book. Good to get started.
But he's a pimp, and it's an autobiography.
It doesn't matter. It's in a book. It's written down. And do you know what it is?
Can you do the audiobooks? I've never really done them either.
Yeah. I could probably do it. But then
I feel like I zone out when I listen to shit like that.
It's not. I'm a fine reader, and it's not anything to do with being against it. It's just I have this theory that, and obviously it's not true because some people go from never reading when they're growing up to loving books and sitting by the pool reading a book. For me, it'd be like if someone had never watched TV before. When would they ever find time to watch it? If they've never watched it.
Yeah, it's not in your schedule.
So I'm going, well, when have I got time? Because to me, a book is a big deal. Like, I'll be like, if I got to read that, I did read one book, and it was the most self-indulgent thing ever. It was the biography for the guy who was playing in Chasing Bono, and I read it in 3 days, and it was grand. But it's because I had to sit down, it was work. But with other ones, I'm sort of like, that's a big deal. I'd feel like it's work, and I go, I don't got time to do that. Well, I'm going to sit there and read a book. Too busy, and it's as pathetic as I'm too busy looking at my phone or watching telly or playing football or anything else. So I'm wrong, but
I never read during the day. Really, I'm just like I plug my phone in on the other side of the room, and then I'll read a bit. But I've been shit at it recently since I finished. Because when I'm in a book, it's like, and then I'll finish it, and then I'll just not read for fucking months because I'm like, I don't know what to read next. But I bought Billy Connolly's book, which is just over there, and I'm going to start that.
See, great example. I love Billy Connolly. Would love to read that. The man. My dad got me a book this Christmas. It was all about the history of Leeds United, and I was like, brilliant. He got me Brian O'Driscoll's autobiography a few years ago. Niall Quinn, who I'm named after, by the way, scored against England before I was born. That's kids called Niall. Fucking love it. All these books, I'm going, I care about Bandit Country, about South Armagh. Oh, I want to read that. So much interesting things in there. And
you just fucking I know I'm the same most of the time.
I can't read it. But I wanted to find a book the other day that I wanted to read, and it doesn't exist.
What is it?
So I'm writing I want to write a film called Hasty. It's about one of your lot, the Belfast lot. It's about a guy. If you've not heard of him, it's a crazy story. He's from Sailortown, near the American bar.
Okay.
That's a good point. Got a tour in Ireland over a weekend. So
I don't even know if that's recording.
Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We'll see. I'm supporting a band called Cry Monster Cry in Dublin at the Canister Pepper Church on the 27th of March. I'm playing the Spirit Store in Dundalk, on the Town on the 28th of March, and I'm playing the American Bar on the 29th of March in Belfast, Homecoming. And if it works out well enough, I'll be playing in Bratislava on the Thursday, because I'll be over to watch Ireland-Slovakia.
Class.
And if we win that, we'll be playing Northern Ireland in Belfast on the Tuesday, so I'll make a week of it. Anyway, what was I saying? I was saying about, oh yeah, so this guy called Hasty, Jimmy Hasty, brilliant footballer, was growing up around that area, Sailortown, played for a team called St. Joseph's and started getting interest from Nottingham Forest. We're talking, he was born in 1936, so he didn't play, his playing career was during the 60s. Nottingham Forest really interested, he wanted to be a professional footballer, and his parents said, right, well, you're 14 now, you need to go to work. And he was like, oh, but I want to, you know, and they were like, no, you're going to work. So he went to work, still thinking he's going to be a footballer. On his first day of work in a factory, gets his arm stuck in a machine and has to get amputated. In like his first day when he's 14, loses his arm. So that's it, and he doesn't know what he's going to do. Gets back to playing football and became the captain of Dundalk FC.
Man.
Was the player of the year 3 years in a row, and was the first ever captain of an Irish team to win a European game. He scored against Zurich in a 2-0 win.
Mad.
And then had a really successful career. All that, moved back to Belfast. No money in football back then, so became a bookkeeper, like, you know, bookies and bets. And the UVF shot him dead for no reason, like just an innocent shooting.
Yeah.
So it's a mad story, and I feel like it's got to be written about. You know?
Yeah, that's cool.
A European Cup captain who had one arm, and he was the best player in the team.
Yeah,
it wasn't like he just managed. He was unreal.
Yeah.
So,
my brother played rugby against the guy with one arm once.
Really?
He was the captain of the other team as well.
See, you've put Jimmy to shame then, because rugby that's, do you know what I mean? Hand off. No, I can't. That's mad.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you play rugby one arm?
Apparently he was good. Like,
next up you'll say, you know, someone who played hurling with one arm, and I'm like,
no, I know a guy who I was at the game as well. He lost his pinky finger in a hurling match. So a guy went to hit the ball, a guy went to block the ball, and he went to grab the ball.
No.
His pinky exploded.
Oh my god.
So mad. He got it reconstructed and all, it's fine. Like, but
I'm a nationalist to the end of the world, but I will never fucking play a game of hurling.
Oh my god, I played it when I was like 12, and I was like, hey, goodbye.
Yeah. I like having a puck around, like going down to the park.
Oh, it's very relaxing. Very relaxing.
But no fucking way.
It's meant to,
and they complain. I love it. They go, we don't want to wear helmets. I'm like, you fucking mad bastards.
But people used to say to me like, oh, but like, how can you? I was like, I don't like hurling, it's scary. And they're like, but you play rugby, and I'm like, do you know how soft rugby players are? Like, to just bump into. You've got sticks.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't go near it. Another thing about rugby as well, you know how people say rugby is an animal's game played by gentlemen.
Yeah. And
rugby players are a different kind of wanker, but they're just as bad.
So the posh ones are. So I come from a very different rugby background, and when I discovered that whole schools rugby and the English rugby thing, I was very baffled by it, because we're like the Malone bin men is what we're known as around the league, because like it's just a group of like lads from the Craig estate and then like a few Catholics thrown in for the crack.
Oh yeah.
And we're just like, that's mad. It's very weird, because we're just like, they're all just like guys, whereas that whole like the initiations thing, like when I arrived at Malone for the first time, I walked in and the guy went, oh sorry, I haven't seen you before, what's your name? I was like, Vittorio. And he's like, oh, nice to meet you, like let me know if you need any help like getting to know anyone, or like what's going on. Like, whereas in like those schools rugby teams, it's like, fucking eat this goldfish.
Well done. Starting tomorrow. There's a best. I tell you what, that was the best eating a goldfish I've ever seen. You're gonna go down well here, Vittorio.
And I was like, it was so weird. I hate all that fucking like, oh, drink this pint of piss, you fucking cunt.
Yeah. I never played rugby. I played rugby. I never played rugby at that age really. I played rugby for Chiswick when I first moved here.
Yeah.
I played for Loughborough in when I was living in Leicester.
Oh, sure. My auntie lectures in Loughborough.
Really?
Yeah.
So there you go. We had some great sportsmen playing that time. But I remember my dad liked watching the Six Nations, but never had anyone in the family obviously play rugby. Dundalk has a rugby team, but just wasn't part of his thing. And he was going, I wanted to leave a football team because my dad used to manage them, and they were called Rothley Imps. And my dad got given money, first job as the manager, to go and get the kit. And Rothley Imps are like, they're a nothing, like tiny small team in the middle of nowhere, but have been around for over 100 years, and they've always played in red and black stripes, like in AC Milan. My dad's first job came back, and I was number 10 in a green and white hoop Roth Liam's jersey, and the badge was a cross. And my dad was like, it was just the cheapest one, I was just saving them. So then when my dad left, another manager took over, and he just didn't like me, so I didn't play. But I was so loyal that I didn't want to play for another football team, so I went out to play rugby instead, as well as like Leicester GA or whatever. And my dad went, oh, I don't know, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, it'll be fine, it's the same sort of thing. And I swear to God, Loughborough playing in yellow and blue stripes across hoops, really. And I was like, great. And they got a new kit out when we first day, and they're like, we've got a brand new kit, here's yours. And they had my name on the back. I was like, amazing, number 44. And I turned it round, and on the front was a lion. The Loughborough badge was grand. It's big sponsor, huge Union Jack. Join the British Army.
Oh,
written below
fuck
us.
that, man.
So my dad got it and went, right, took it home, got the nail varnish remover out. I was the James McLean of that season, I suppose.
Mate, honestly.
But I couldn't believe it. I was like, there's no way. He said, you can't be playing with that on, son. So, yeah.
It's fucking intense, man. And people get weird about it. That's a conversation for another day.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do another podcast because that's an hour and 45.
Is it?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. I've got to go to the opera. I'm getting taken to the opera tonight. We've never been to the opera. What opera? One of them. I don't know. I asked last night. I said, what opera are you going to? Carmen. Is that an opera?
It is, yeah.
Is that the one? So I didn't know.
By Bizet.
I recognised it. See, I'd never been to an opera.
You'll know the tunes. That's a good thing about Carmen. They're all football chants. They are. There's Library. That's Carmen.
I'm going to be joining on. Da, 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 da. I'm open-minded, and I hope I enjoy it, is what I'll say about the opera.
Don't take it as seriously as everyone tells you to. It is pantomime. The storylines in opera are utter pantomime.
Oh, no, it's not. We're doing so well. So well. Yeah.
So, 11th of February at the Dublin Castle.
In Camden. In London.
Camden. London. And this was very nice. Thank you for coming on the Good Guy podcast. You're officially a good guy.
Thanks for having me.
So happy. I'll do this at the end.
Yes.
Very good.